Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today I am showing you the best of Holo Taco. So I am so excited that you guys are all enjoying my best of series, which is basically my brand favorites style video. I only just started this little mini series like a week ago maybe, and this is already the third video. I'm trying to get a couple in before the Black Friday sales happen, but I guess I could always continue this series afterwards, so just in case you are curious about my favorites when it comes to specific brands. But yeah, so today's video is going to be all about Holo Taco, and not just my favorites and my recommendations, but also my general thoughts about them, which I will share at the end of the video. So for now, let me just show you my favorites. So the first category I have is their glitters, and this is the category that I think I have the most of from Holo Taco, and it's probably my favorite. And the first one that I have is Menchie the Cat, and this was one of their very first glitter polishes. It released alongside Siler, which is the orange one, and I hate to choose favorites between them, but I can't help but always pick Menchie. It is just the most dainty, icy pink micro glitter that I feel like is borderline on being like a lavender. A lot of Holo Taco's pinks are very cool tone, but I feel like this one is still very on the pink side. But it is just such a delicate color. Like, I love this in one coat over a sheer pink. I also obviously love building it up so you see more of that color, and it is just so pretty. So I absolutely love this one. And next I have Play Rosé and Frostlight, which were from their first winter holiday glitters collection. Play Rosé, I don't know if you can even tell from here because it's kind of like moving the bottle around, but the fill line is like just over the halfway point, which I know to like hardcore Holo Taco fans, this is laughable, but to somebody who has like 4 Helmers full of polish, this is impressive to me, okay? Like, I use this polish a lot. It's just such a beautiful rose gold. It definitely is very on like the copper side. Like, I know rose gold is definitely one of those shades that can either be like too pink or too copper. It's kind of hard to get like a good balance of those colors. And while this one might not be as pink as some other people would prefer their rose golds to be, I still think it is absolutely beautiful. Like, I love wearing this in the winter time. It's just a perfect accent kind of nail, or I especially love wearing these shades as like a glitter gradient. It is just super beautiful, almost like a nice romantic kind of color. So pretty. And then the other polish is Frostlight, which is the icy blue from that collection. And this is definitely the most sheer, at least from the ones that I have, where even on a 3 coats you still can make out some nail line, but I still don't mind that at all because I just feel like it adds to that very icy, wintry kind of look that this color is just like so perfect for. Like, this is a beautiful shade to carry me through the winter time. It just gives me like ice princess or queen vibes. It is so beautiful. And the last one I have is Plum Luck, and this was from the second holiday glitters collection, which overall I do really like. I mean, I am missing the gold and the green, but I am planning to pick those up. But this one is easily my top favorite because it is just such a beautiful, vampy, plummy purple micro glitter that also has these like magenta micro glitters. Like, maybe they're looking a little red or something on camera. It just adds this like extra dimension to the color, and I love it so much for the fall and winter time. It is just absolutely stunning, and I would recommend this one the most because while I do generally like the other ones that I have, maybe actually with the exception of Choco Holo, I didn't end up loving that one. In case you somehow missed it, they actually are going to be discontinuing this second collection of glitters, and I am so sad over that. Like, I cannot believe that they're going to be getting rid of them because I feel like they are just such classic shades, especially this one. Like, it is just the most unique. I think you might have a better chance at finding dupes or alternates of a black micro glitter or a red one, but this plummy purple, like, you know, I hate to enable, but if you have been thinking about it, I would say get this one. So keeping on with the holiday theme, the next category I have is their foil metallics, and I only have 2 of them, but I love them enough that I can recommend both. So the first one I have is Fake Date, and this is like a super icy pink foil metallic. I feel like I had stayed away from this polish for a while because it just looked very purple in a lot of the swatch photos, and I thought I had a dupe for it in my collection, but eventually I got a couple of comments assuring me that this was actually a lot more pink than the photos were leading on. So I decided to bite the bullet and pick this up, and I was not let down. Holo Taco definitely has a knack for releasing very, very icy, cool toned pinks to the point that they lean a little bit purple. So yeah, I am just such a big fan of this color and this finish. It's obviously not one I reach for super often. Like, it's perfect for the winter season, the holidays. The foil metallics, I feel like, just catch the light so beautifully. It's really hard to tell from photos, and I feel like videos, you know, are a little bit helpful because you see that actual twinkle going on, but it just does not compare to how you actually see it like on your nails in real life, especially in like the sunlight. And the other favorite is Favorite Sister, and this one is a no-brainer. I mean, it is a red foil metallic. This is absolutely perfect for the holiday season. If you celebrate, it is just like a perfect Christmas red. This is incredibly vibrant. Like, I was so impressed with the coverage on this one on the first coat alone. Granted, they do come with a skinny brush, so you are gonna need a brush replacement just to get like better application. But this is one of those colors that is just so breathtaking, so eye-catching. I'm not usually one for red nails, but I absolutely love this one. So this next category is their crushed holographics, and this is a relatively new finish to Holo Taco's catalog. They did launch one last year, I believe, in their anniversary collection, but that was limited edition and kind of just like as a way to see how the customers felt about this finish. And so they decided to launch their Holo Barista bundle earlier this year, which was a full line of crushed holographics in a neutral palette. I believe the bundle was only 5 polishes, but I have 3 that I think were my top favorite from them. The first one is Haute Couture. This one is the lightest shade. It is like a very icy, cool toned oatmeal kind of color. It has like a touch of like maybe pink or like a blush undertone in there, but it's definitely not as pink leaning as Blushed Ice, which I do also really love, but you know, I'm trying to like limit it. I just think this is such a beautiful shade. It is like so perfect as a palette cleanser if you want something on your nails that's like neutral but a little bit sparkly. It's just so elegant and timeless. Such a beautiful classic kind of color. These generally have a little bit of a jelly like tinted base, so they are going to be a bit sheer on the first coat, but you can build them up to be a little bit more opaque with the more coats that you do. But I actually do like how each of these looks in however many coats you do decide to do, so you get like more versatility with them. And obviously I really love the crushed hollow effect that these have. It's basically like a very dense hollow micro flaky, more or less. And even though they are holographic, these definitely are more on the subtle side, so they're not going to be as overpowering as like a linear holographic, but I actually really love that about them. Like, I'm not a big linear holographic person, and so I think I just prefer a little bit more of a subtle sparkle more often than not, and so these polishes are perfect for that. The next one I absolutely love is Holo Cappuccino, and this is the one I'm actually wearing right now. I'm not sure if you can tell here, but I do have 2 coats on this hand and then 1 coat on my right hand. And I absolutely love how this looks in just 1 coat because, like I mentioned, these have a little bit of a sheer jelly tinted base. And so it provides just a lighter wash of color that deepens up the more coats that you do. And so having 1 coat of this just is such a beautiful color. I think I almost prefer this in 1 coat than 2 or 3. No matter how many coats you do, it's gonna look absolutely gorgeous. It's like a medium brown that I thought was warm toned, but honestly, like when I see it on me, it kind of looks cool toned. I don't think I'm really good at seeing like undertones and telling them apart, but I absolutely love this one, especially over Need I Say Mocha, because I thought I was gonna like that one, but I feel like that one had a little bit too much like yellow in it. So I just personally didn't find that flattering on me, but this one definitely was such a nice surprise with how much I ended up loving it. And my last favorite from the bundle was Espresso Your Holo, and this is like a super deep, rich chocolate espresso brown that is really so dark. It can like borderline look black, which I know is like kind of a hit or miss thing with some people, and even myself included. I normally don't love polishes that are so dark they look black. Like I want to see the color. I think maybe only in like super low lighting it can look black, or maybe just on camera like it might look black here, but I can see it as a dark brown. So I really love that about this shade. But yeah, I shared this in my fall favorites video a couple of months ago. I am just really on this brown kick this season, especially the super deep rich ones, and I just love how luscious this is. Oh my god, it is just so decadent. Like I want to drink this, you know. Obviously I won't, but like I want to. So the next category I have is their linear holographics, and this is another pretty small collection that I have. I really only have like the first full rainbow one, and then most of the shades from the electrostatic collection. I don't have any from the dark rainbow and only one from the pastel rainbow. So again, I'm sorry that I have a very limited selection to recommend, but at least from the ones that I have, I would say my top 3 favorites start with Coral Chaser, and this is from the pastel rainbow bundle. It is just like this really pretty warm toned corally pink linear holo that I think is just so beautiful. I think generally I do prefer warmer leaning pinks than cooler ones, so I ended up grabbing this instead of Pink Fizz. I also feel like this was pretty unique to my collection. Again, not that I have a ton of linear holographics to begin with, but I just really adore this one so much. I feel like it almost has that like rose gold quality to it, which I am a big fan of. Next I have Hydropower, and this is from the electrostatic collection. Just this electrifying icy blue linear holo that I just absolutely love. I feel like it's just a pretty unique shade of blue when it comes to linear holos. Like the ones that I've seen are usually on the very baby blue side or like very icy looking, but this one almost has a bit of an aqua kind of color to it, so it just feels like brighter, and I really love that. It just feels unique to my collection. And lastly, from the OG rainbow collection, my favorite one was Magenta Jelly. And this is like a super warm purple color, or like a dark magenta, if you will. And I just think it is so freaking beautiful. Again, generally with like linear holographics, I have a hard time kind of like recommending other ones because I feel like you can pretty much find them in other brands for like a lot cheaper. So with these 3, I'm just really going off of the colors because I feel like they are the most unique that I've seen, but they also do have really great formulas. So if you don't care about the price point or whatever, then you really can't go wrong with any of their linear holos because they all have like a really flawless formula. But yeah, this one is especially gorgeous for this time of year. I'm just a big fan of it. Even though I don't have any of the dark rainbow polishes, I still think they are super beautiful. Like I would probably be interested in getting all of them, maybe with the exception of Amber Apathy because I just don't like that color. But the rest of them look absolutely beautiful. The only kind of concerns that I have are with Crimson Void and Dead Petals, because I remember last year a lot of people were kind of upset with how Crimson Void looked, where it just wasn't as deep or rich of a red as it looked in the photos. It just looked really similar to Dead Petals. Even though I have wanted both of those, I've just been like avoiding it because I don't want to be disappointed. But yeah, maybe I'll only grab Lost in the Woods and Sunken Secrets. I think those are my top 2 from the dark rainbow bundle. So this next category I guess could technically be considered glitters as well, but I'm gonna be calling them like specialty finishes because there's just a lot more going on in here that to me differentiates them from their typical or standard holographic micro glitter formula. Their vacation collection that launched earlier this year was their first collection to kind of put out these like new finishes with like all these different elements where it's like it can be glitters but they're also like reflectives and then also multi-chrome, etc. So overall that collection was gorgeous, but my top two are Private Villa and Never Tied Down. So with Private Villa, it is just this super hot pink red leaning jelly base. Like this is Holo Taco's first like true jelly polish that is packed with these gold iridescent glitters and shimmers and these hot pink reflective glitters as well, which I know not many people love reflective glitters, but I think they're beautiful. And for this polish, I feel like they just aren't as noticeable. Like they almost kind of get lost in the base. So they're a lot more on the subtle side in case you're worried about them being like obnoxious looking. But yeah, this was just such a beautiful polish for the summertime. It was easily my favorite. Like I wore this, I want to say maybe like 3 times, which again might not sound impressive to a lot of people, but for somebody who changes up their polishes constantly, it was impressive that I went back to this 3 separate times. It just has such a super squishy, lush, juicy formula and color. I just especially love hot pink kind of jelly shades in the summer, and this one is so gorgeous. And the other polish that I loved from that collection was Never Tied Down. It is such a super stunning aqua jelly kind of base, but it is absolutely packed with crushed holo and flakies and little glitters and shimmers. Like there is so much sparkle going on in here, but it feels very cohesive. It's not just kind of like randomly thrown in there. And I think this is one of Holo Taco's like most beautiful polishes. It's definitely one of the most unique that they have in their catalog. So I just cannot recommend this enough, especially for the summertime. It is just so breathtaking. So next, when it comes to their toppers, I have 2 that I really love and would recommend. The first one is their iconic flaky Holo Taco, and this is just as it sounds. It is a holographic flaky topper. This is filled with these like irregular holographic kind of shreds. It's not really uniform micro glitters. It looks so great over creams, but I especially love using it over gradients or in jelly sandwiches. The only thing I don't love about this topper, and I don't know if it's just limited to like my bottle or batch because this is definitely an old one, but mine has these like little bar glitters. I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see from like the swatches, but they're just like these little longer pieces that I just don't love. I am not a bar glitter fan. So again, I'm not sure if it's limited to like this batch because again, this was like years ago that I bought this. But if the newer bottles have like that more true flaky kind of shape, I would absolutely recommend that. And the other topper is their most recent one. It is Fallen Flake Taco. And I have been loving this one. I am not a big multi-chrome person, as you probably know, but I really love the multi-chrome shift in this one. It's just like this beautiful golden copper head on, and then in the corners of the bottle, it starts to turn like yellow and green and blue. There's also pops of magenta in there, so it is just super stunning. Literal fallen leaves on your nails, and they are just so beautiful, so shiny and reflective. It is just such a beautiful topper. I really love this one. Then for the cream category, I have 4 recommendations. Funny enough, they are basically the same 2 colors. I have 2 purples and 2 greens, but the first 2 that I have are from the pastel bundle, and they are Crime and Punishment and Serial Killer. Crime and Punishment is just such a beautiful, breathtaking mint green that is so bright for being a pastel. Like, I don't think I would call it a bleached neon necessarily. This definitely stands out amongst a lot of other minty greens, especially the pastel variety in the spring. This just feels so bright and so unique that I think is so beautiful. I really love this one. And the other one from the collection is Serial Killer, which is a pastel purple. And this is just such a dream creamy purple. I mentioned this in a previous video, but I feel like a few people had some issues with the pastel creams where they were a little bit on the crelly side. I don't fully remember which ones of mine needed 3 coats, so I can understand the frustration with that. But as far as the colors go, I was pleasantly surprised to see that they all did stand out compared to other pastels in my collection. But yeah, I feel like Serial Killer is just such a beautiful lavender pastel. It is so bright, so flattering. Then for the darker variety, I have Modest Moss from the recent Down to Earth bundle this past fall season, and then Indigo Away, which was I think their very first cream polish. But starting with Modest Moss, I just love this green. I don't know if you know this about me, but I am like a reformed green lover. Green is one of those colors that I have slowly come to love and appreciate and expand. Like normally I was really big into the pastels or the super dark kind of like hunter royal emerald kind of colors, but lately I've been expanding into just, you know, other shades, and this is such a unique one to my collection. I feel like it is just so pretty for the season. It's definitely dusty enough to be a fall color, but there's still just this certain brightness to it that I think is so flattering, especially if you're not super into like the muted typical dusty fall shades. And then for Indigo Away, I mean, this is like a classic. It is just the perfect indigo cream. I have nothing else to say, but I don't have anything like this in my collection. I haven't come across another cream quite like this shade. And I know I've mentioned it before about not loving shades that are like so dark that they look almost black. This one can in, you know, very like low lighting. Obviously here with the light, you can see there is like, you know, that purple or blue color to it. But I just especially love this for the colder months, like the winter season. It is just so dark and moody and just such a dream to apply. And the last category I have from Holo Taco is their magnetics. Holo Taco only released their first magnetic collection last winter, and they unfortunately received some mixed reviews on them. For my video, if you watched it, you may have remembered that I had a positive experience with them. Like maybe they didn't become my immediate favorite for magnetics, but I do really love them overall when it comes to their finishes, because they also have this like little flaky hollow sparkle outside of just the magnetic shimmer. So I feel like that extra bit of sparkle just really makes me enjoy their magnetics so much more. But unfortunately, a lot of people had issues with those magnetics where they weren't really magnetizing. Like I've seen videos of people holding the magnet to the bottle and moving it around, and normally that works in shifting the pigment, but with these, they like stayed still as if they weren't even magnetic. I do think that issue was resolved with just using thinner, but I can definitely understand the frustration of having to use thinner on a brand new product. I'm not sure if they have gone back to like reformulate those magnetics, but if you do want to take a chance on them, if you have thinner on hand, then my favorite one from that initial collection was Fairy Tale. And it is a brown magnetic, and it was just like so unique to me. Like I had never seen a brown magnetic before, but this one just rocked my world. I thought it was the most beautiful shade. It is just this deep, warm chocolate brown with this really pretty, almost copper kind of shimmer. I think it's a little bit more on like the gold side actually. So it's not super like orangey, and there's this really delicate holographic sparkle outside of the magnetic shimmer. So overall, this is just such a cozy brown. I shared this as one of my fall favorites this year. It just reminds me of like a plush teddy bear, just such a cute, cozy shade. I definitely do prefer this with a cat eye effect though, because I did notice with Holo Taco when I first reviewed their magnetics, they didn't really respond well with a velvet effect. It could be because they were just a little too thick and needed thinner, but my guess is because their magnetics are very opaque. They're not jellyish like other brands. So because they are thicker, it just leaves less room for the magnetic shimmer to kind of like move around. At least that's been my experience. So if you are looking for a velvet effect, you might not like these. They're just a lot more subtle. So I would only really recommend them if you're interested in like a cat eye effect, and it's a lot more softer and diffused. And the other magnetic I wanted to share was Menchie Cat Eye, which honestly, I don't even know if this is gonna be a part of the sale. It might not, but even if it's not, I still would recommend this one because it is just so beautiful. This launched recently as one of the birthday polishes along with Cool Cat Mom and Xyler Cat Eye, but I really love Menchie. It is easily my favorite. Again, I'm sorry to pick favorites between them, but this is just the prettiest sage green with a golden shimmer, and again, that same dainty hollow outside. It almost has a bit of a chartreuse leaning color to it, which is so surprising because if you know me, you know I hate chartreuse, but there's something about this shade that is just absolutely beautiful. It could be because I just know that it's literally inspired by Menchie's eyes, and I think it was so well done. But yeah, I just think this is such a unique shade, especially for a magnetic polish. It is absolutely beautiful. And I know that Christine did mention that these new birthday magnetics were reformulated and kind of just generally had a better formula than the initial magnetic collection. Again, because I had a good experience with that first batch, I feel like these felt the same to me. Overall, I really enjoyed like all of their magnetics, but they do have a bit of a softer, more diffused effect to them. So if you are looking for like a super sharp cat eye, I don't really think you'll get that with these, but they are like just more on the subtle side. I know to a lot of people it might not be worth it because magnetics are already tedious as it is, and it might not seem like there is, you know, good payoff with them. But at least in my experience, I found that they did magnetize well, even if they are subtle, and they are just still so beautiful and have such amazing full coverage formulas. So that wraps up my best of Holo Taco. So hopefully you enjoyed my favorites and top recommendations, especially for their upcoming Black Friday sale, which I don't have any information, but I will update my description box whenever I get dates on that. But yeah, I would love to know what you think of my picks, if we have any favorites in common, or of course, leave your recommendations, especially for categories that I just didn't have at all or didn't have that much of. It would be really awesome to share that for people in the comments who are looking to try more of their polishes. But yeah, I'm sorry that I didn't have a lot of recommendations or even just like an extensive Holo Taco collection. It's probably the smaller collection that I have when it comes to all the boutique brands. And that's not to say it's because they're a bad brand or like have bad quality or anything like that, but honestly, they just are a little bit out of my price point and budget for what they offer. Like personally, I just don't find a lot of their shades to be super unique, like especially when it comes to their linear holographics or their creams. But I have been really excited about their more recent new ventures in specialty finishes. Like again, their crushed holographic formula I think is super beautiful, and I would love to see them expand that line. The same thing goes for their vacation collection earlier this year, where all of the polishes were like a brand new finish, and it was just so fun to see like a little bit more creativity with these polishes, because I think the biggest complaint with Holo Taco that I've seen, especially from like the outside perspective, like other customers, is that they end up just releasing the same like 5 colors in different finishes, because they really were like the same exact kind of colors. There wasn't much variance. Like maybe you noticed how Hydropower and Never Tied Down were like the same shade of blue, but just in different finishes. I know that definitely works for some people, but when you see that collection after collection, it can get a little tiring. So again, I am glad that they are kind of moving away from that and trying different things with not just their color palette, but also their finishes. I've really been loving what they've been putting out lately, and I just hope to see more of that. I'm sure there are people that are gonna like agree with me, but I don't know, I just get nervous like sharing any kind of criticisms, you know, or like negative opinions regarding the brand, because I know there's like a lot of loyal fans. But I guess ultimately this video just isn't really for those loyal fans because they like have everything. So yeah, I'm hoping that I didn't like put you off. If you are someone new trying to get into Holo Taco, go for it. They have great formulas. They're beautiful colors. I just can't help but recommend like the more unique kind of finishes that they offer, or even the polishes that they are planning to retire, because again, I think they are so beautiful and I'm so sad to see them go. As far as my wish list goes, it's not gonna be a crazy one because I'm prioritizing other brands this Black Friday season, but I definitely am interested in getting Everything is Pine and Gold Play Button from the micro glitters that they plan to retire, as well as a backup of Plum Luck, because again, that is just my favorite. And I also want to get a backup of Menchie Cat Eye, even though I'm pretty sure it's not going to be eligible for the Black Friday discount because it's so new. That honestly doesn't even matter to me. Like, I just need a backup of it because it is so beautiful. But yeah, I would love to know any and all thoughts that you have down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.